You've lost access to your crypto, you've lost access to a wallet, you've lost access to that hardware ledger, whatever it may be. As much as that incident may suck, you might be asking yourself, well, hey, can I take a tax deduction for this loss? In this video, we're going to talk all about potential tax deductions for lost crypto on wallets, but this also applies to incidents such as exchanges as well. And we do have videos that talk about certain exchanges going bankrupt and how tax deductions can apply. But on this video, we're going to talk more about wallets, perhaps a hardware wallet or a software wallet. And over the years, you've lost your private key and you've just lost access overall. Can you take a deduction? Well, the first and most important thing to consider is whether or not that loss is final. Have you actually lost it for good, or have you just misplaced access? So for instance, we have clients sometimes that come to us and say, I had crypto on a foreign exchange, and now that foreign exchange has no longer allowed US people to access it. In some situations, yeah, it's gone for good, but in other situations, there are just limitations in place, and sometimes through contacting support, using technical methods such as a VPN, you can still access it. So first of all, we need to make sure that it's actually gone for good. And there are some very clear examples when it's gone for good. For example, you've lost your private key, or maybe there was just a single hardware wallet, a ledger, for instance, that you had your crypto on and it's gone. It's been destroyed, it's in the garbage, whatever it may be. Those would be examples of it being certainly gone. But if there's still question, then you may not be able, and in many cases you in fact shouldn't take a tax deduction until it is settled and gone for good. So let's move on from there. Let's assume that it is gone, it's gone for good, and you can't get it back. There are some potential tax options that are available, and unfortunately the IRS hasn't issued any guidance specific to this type of fact pattern. And the IRS has issued quite a few different things on crypto over the years, including an FAQ on their website that's very detailed, over 40 different questions and answers about cryptocurrency. But it doesn't talk about this. And the IRS also released guidance talking about a decrease in value, and that you have to actually sell or have an affirmative act of abandonment in order to take a loss if a decrease in value occurs. But that's not what we have here. Here we have the crypto still exists somewhere, but you've lost access to it. So a couple options that are available. One is taking a capital loss, treating it like it was sold for zero. The tax argument here is that it is considered a worthless security or a worthless investment, and therefore it's disposed of or sold for zero in the year that you identified that it's worthless. This is a little bit tricky, and it's quite a more aggressive position because the IRS has said that in the case of worthlessness, we need to actually have that affirmative step, some sort of action towards abandonment. And here, while that may have happened inadvertently, it's a little bit beyond what the IRS had intended in that type of guidance. So it's certainly a more aggressive position to say that it is a capital loss and sold for zero. Nevertheless, over the years, we have many clients that have taken that position, but we have not seen yet any cases where it's been tested in tax court or even specifically in an audit to determine whether or not that treatment is proper. So first option is potentially a capital loss. The other option is a 165C2 deduction. And under the tax code, this relates to transactions that are entered into for profit, not necessarily rising to the level of a business, because if you run a business, whole different discussion. But if you're not running a business, the tax code still has a section that says that if you had a for-profit transaction and you had a loss that results, that in certain cases you can take a deduction. And so perhaps that applies here, because most investments are in fact for profit. And there has been some case law that supports that certain transactions that you typically consider an investment fall under this criteria and a loss can be taken. So again, just as before, there is no explicit guidance. There haven't been any cases that have been published to test this, but there exists another option here to take a deduction. And this is a different type of deduction. It's actually not a capital loss. It's treated as an itemized deduction, and so it offsets your income differently. Different pros and cons to each depending on whether or not you could benefit from a capital loss. So it's not necessarily clear cut that one is better than another or one is more aggressive than another. It depends on a lot of facts and circumstances, such as what was the general nature of the wallet that you had. Was it an investment wallet or otherwise? So different things to consider. If you're considering taking one of these deductions, you should definitely talk to a tax professional before doing so, because there could be significant benefit, but with that benefit also comes risk if you take that position and later on you're audited by the IRS. So you'll want to talk to a tax professional and make sure it applies to your situation. Thanks for watching, and if you benefited from this video, please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, or leave any questions as a comment below.